All right. So the last question, and I'm excited to hear about this because I think you probably live this answer, but what is your long-term vision for stress management?
So do you mean for myself, for the world, for um what my
I would
vision
I
for
would
her?
say what is your vision for for nurses, for community, for anyone that you offer this to? What's your long-term vision?
So the thing that I know is for sure, especially during and since COVID, is people are really, really struggling emotionally. They're struggling psychologically. I mean, really, we've seen it's off the charts now in comparison to say 2018 or 2010 or 2000. The rates of anxiety and depression and suicide are astronomical in comparison. And the thing that I know for sure, and I don't say this in a bragging way, I say this because I've been practicing it on my own and teaching it to lots and lots of people, is we have a set of tools here that work without side effects to to help the body heal so that we can feel a lot better, because a healed physiology, a healed psychology feels a heck of a lot better than a out of balance one. And so if it's one person or a billion people, my vision is, let's get these tools in people's hands and practicing them as importantly as how the public health world has dealt with tobacco. You know, in the last 10, 20 years, there's been an enormous push, enormous, to rethink tobacco, that it's not what everyone thought it was in the 50s, where in the 40s, where everyone started smoking and that's what they did. You know, they thought it was actually a good thing back then. And in the last 20 years or so, there's been an enormous public awareness shift that tobacco is not a good call for very much of anything health-wise. And we need a similar shift in our approach to stress management that is away from symptom covering. You know, it's like we put band-aids on things thinking, we don't put a band-aid on a cut thinking this band-aid's going to fix the cut. We just put a band-aid on it so that it doesn't get infected, or maybe other reasons, but that's to me. And when we take some medication, for example, for anxiety, we're just doing the same thing. It feels better, maybe momentarily, but it's not fixing the problem. And the tools that I've been lucky enough to learn are the way to get at the root, at the seeds of our stress. So we go in there and we take the seeds out, the roots out, then the symptoms will go away. But we need to have that shift of awareness from everybody, or as many people as possible, that this is possible. Because where was I today? I was listening to somebody speaking, and they said stress and anxiety are everywhere. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, stress and anxiety aren't anywhere except in our own minds. But we've got that mantra going out there that the world is a stressful place. And as long as we have that mantra, we are doomed, because you can't fix the world. But if we switch that to the mantra of, my mind is stressful, we have control over that part. And when we can do something, when we figure out how to deal with this, then the world just becomes the world. It's just a place. It's not stressful. It's not anything. It's just, trees and houses and people and events. And when we recognize I can interpret this how I choose, and I choose peace, I choose forgiveness, I choose gratitude, then I actually think the world starts to feel more that way. But for sure, I feel that way. And that's kind of my vision. It's a tough one because it's a big mountain to climb, but I like mountain climbing.
So great. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, I think that a funny realization I had while working on the terra firma stuff is that first of all, that once we learn this and teach it to our kids and they teach it to their kids, we're saving our kids from so much pain, really, just figuring out how to de-stress in their adulthood or going through health issues. But us as adults learning this now, we are not that much more different than a 5-year-old learning how to de-stress. And it's so funny. Even if our tantrums maybe don't look exactly the same as ours, they're pretty similar sometimes. And
They're so similar. Yep.
Yeah, I think just the generational change that this information can make is so huge.
Wow. That's really good. That's really good.